Hey everybody. Had a little mic trouble on this one. Sound quality is not going to be up to usual standard. Sorry.
Okay, so that's a heck of a finishing move. Black Mirror is back. 3 episodes. Man, I wish it was more, but like, I don't want to ask for more than that. We were lucky when we got, seasons that offered us more than that in one go. So I'm just happy to have more. So I'm going to tackle this the way that I have done Black Mirror previously. I am not binging through it. I know better than to binge through Black Mirror. You need to take it in and you need to take some time with it. You got to digest it. You got to think about it, and you need to give some space before you leap into the next one. And so this is going to take over the Monday video slot for the next, 2 more weeks after this. So this week, next week, week after. So I have now seen the episode Striking Vipers. So this one has Anthony Mackie in it. So he's the big name, the big visible actor who you've seen elsewhere who appears in this. I didn't recognize anybody else, though I wouldn't be surprised if some of them have been in something at some point that I've probably seen. But I really liked this. And I wasn't sure I was going to, for a number of reasons. But first of all, I should have had better faith. Because, there were so many, and this is what I love when this happens. I love when I'm watching something, and because this is just how my brain works. I talk about this sometimes. I zero in, and I immediately spot the ways it could go wrong. And what I mean wrong is not like the situation goes badly. I mean I can see the way the story can go off the rails and become something that I'm not going to enjoy. That's just how my brain works. It figures that out. And this thing had so many potholes that it could have hit, and it dodged all of them. So first up, it's dealing with video games and television and film entertainment by and large do not get video games at all. And I don't mean that in they can't adapt them way. I mean whenever you see video games depicted in movies or TV, it's always what? No, that's not how any of that works. What the heck was it? I think it was Charlie's Angels. They have one of the lead characters sort of run through this house where these 2 boys are playing a game, and it's Final Fantasy VIII, which is a single player game, but they both got controllers. It's oh, for God's sake. But I should have remembered that Charlie Brooker, who created Black Mirror and also wrote this particular episode, knows games. That's also why playtest wasn't the painful nightmare that it should have been, given how well entertainment usually handles these sorts of things. So we get a fighting game is what we get in this one. And it is very representative of current fighting games, which makes sense because honestly, fighting games have not changed that much in the last, I'd say, I was going to say decade. I would say about 2 decades. All this really kind of happened is the graphics have gotten better. But the basic mechanics, the fact that most of them still operate on a 2D plane and the graphics just got sharper, and some of them function, some of them are combo based this, but the basic mechanics of tournament fighting games really haven't changed. And so I can totally buy the idea that in another 11 years or what have you, that they're basically still the same as they are now, just with whatever the current tech of the age is. And that's kind of what we get a little bit here. I also love that we see Anthony Mackie's character killing time by playing Tetris, because Tetris will never die and it will be ported to everything ever. That is just a fact. So I totally bought that too, so that was fun. I'll avoid getting into spoilers, but I'm going to have to eventually, because I need to talk about the ending, because the ending ultimately was what truly put this up over the top, and it was the last pothole that I was so certain this thing was going to hit, and just swerved around. I'm oh, nice. So the performances are all really good. I am going to just lay out the premise. If by some reason you're watching this before you've seen the episode, why would you do that? I don't know. Okay, so basic plot. You have Anthony Mackie's character, and he used to hang out, with his good buddy and what was at the time his girlfriend, but now it's a decade plus later. He's grown up. He's in the suburbs. He's got a kid. He and his girlfriend, now his wife, are trying to have another kid. He sits outside at the grill and flips burgers at his own birthday party. And his friend, his old roommate, his best friend, who used to stay up late playing these tournament fighters, shows up. And for his birthday, gets him the latest version of the game they used to play. Because that's another thing I totally buy, that these series just go on forever. They never die. They will never stop being made. Because if it's a name with any name, if it has any name recognition, it will keep going. So this then brings in sort of the virtual reality tech, and using sort of the little side dot that we saw in USS Callister, which means that they're sort of playing virtual reality as their fighters of choice. And his friend has a character named Roxette that he always plays, which is a female fighter. And Anthony Mackie's character has Lance that he always plays as. And I really love the fight scene in this, because I love that it both manages to convey sort of their experience in playing this, but also like pulling back to sort of that 2D, to give it that 2D look as they sort of bounce, do the big bounce jump, and I'm like, oh god, this is just perfect. It's so good. And for myself, I enjoy tournament fighters. I've never played them seriously. I'm not great at them, but I've enjoyed them over the years, and so I had a lot of fun watching that. But then ultimately, it goes in the direction, I would consider this to start to be spoilers, so that's your warning. I'm just going to talk freely from here on out. It gets to the point that I think, and it sort of clicked in my head, I remember thinking, I bet you there are people who use this game set up for sex. Oh, look at that! They're using this game set up for sex. And as soon as I realized it was exploring this element of it, and juggling a lot, juggling dissatisfaction with home life, not only for Anthony Mackie's character, but for his friend too, because his friend is on the dating scene, and theoretically he's living the life that Anthony Mackie is missing, but he's dissatisfied with that too. And finding something that is giving you, that is invigorating you, but at the same time, it's not the things that you're supposed to be getting invigorated by. You're supposed to be getting invigorated by your job, your family, your spouse, but instead it's this other thing, and it just handles everything so nicely, because it perfectly deals with the just sort of the angst that comes with mundanity, the thrill of something being new, but also kind of reminding you of the life you used to have. It has that sort of rationalization that people, I want to say guys, but I'll say people in general tend to have, especially when it comes to anything that has an online component. So whether it's texting or Snapchat or whatever, where it's well, I'm not physically in the same space with this person touching them, so it's not really cheating, but also kind of knowing, yeah, it is. It really is. And it neither condemns nor fully exonerates any of the characters involved. And I love that, because this kind of story could be super judgmental of any of the characters involved. It could have been super judgmental of the wife because she doesn't understand him anymore and what he needs anymore. It could have been super judgmental of Anthony Mackie for him turning his back on his home life in order to chase this. It could have been super judgy of the friend, making him seem like a hedonist who just wanted to drag Mackie down to his level. But all of them, everyone's part in the situation that we've got into is owned up to and is presented legitimately, but also, like, they're all human. They're all presented fairly. And I like how all of it is done and how the hesitations happen and how, you know, the guy slips up and he says in the game, he says, I love you. And I love that he can't quite explain the way that it feels for him to have this experience, you know, in a virtual female body. I like that he says, you know, when Anthony Mackie, you know, tells him we can't do this anymore, that he says, like, it's not the same with other people. So that it's not just a hedonistic pleasure thing, that there is some kind of connection there. But then Anthony Mackie meeting him in the rain is saying, we need to kiss to see if there's something real here. And I can see where some people might get annoyed with that moment, that where, like, it kind of becomes like a, hey, no homo thing, because they don't have the same connection in real life. But I don't think that's what's going on there, because what you get is you get his friend basically realizing, no, it is you, I do need it to be you, but it is the very specific circumstances under which we've been doing this. But there's also a pause from Anthony Mackie, if you pay attention, where his friend says, no, there's nothing, and Anthony Mackie's just kind of paused, like, yeah, no, nothing. And like that, the world is in that pause, as far as I'm concerned, and that's what keeps it. And again, it's one more pothole dodge, because that totally could have been a, oh no, it's totally not a gay thing moment. But like, just having that pause there, having Anthony Mackie seem to question in that moment, takes the curse off it, and it works. And then the ending, oh my god, I love so much that we do not see the conversation that happens between Anthony Mackie and his wife. We know that he tells her, but we don't see the conversation. I'm so glad, because honestly, I don't want to see people in that much emotional pain. I just don't. And that conversation, however it went down, was going to be painful for him, for her. Eventually, when he told his friend, hey, she now knows, that was going to be painful. I don't want to see people in that much emotional pain. So I love that it stops dead as soon as he winds up to start to tell her, and we jump ahead. And we get to see what it is now. And it's, without laying out exactly how we got here, we just realize, oh, everybody understands. So she understands that this was important to him. And he understands that he can't let this take over his life. And he understands that if he is going to be allowed to have this on occasion, he has to give her some leeway to pursue things that she has given up to be with him. And it's just going to be probably once a year, but without judgment, and with an understanding that the life that they have is good, but sometimes you need a little something else. And understanding that and granting that to each other, it's beautiful. Because all three of them look so happy. It's, oh God. I guess we're now up to, I guess I'd say 3 flat out happy endings. You know, and then maybe 5 depending on how you count it. So this goes on the pile alongside San Junipero and Hang the DJ. And then slightly more arguably Nosedive, I think it's a happy ending, and Black Museum, which a little bit gruesome, but still, like, yeah, that works. So this goes into the small collection of Black Mirror episodes that, our USS Callister. So now I guess we're up to 6 Black Mirror episodes that don't leave you beaten up. Not that that's a bad thing, and I fully expect to be beaten up by the next episode. I'm just kind of assume that, but I didn't know how this was going to wrap up, and I had a hard time seeing how it was going to wrap up in a way that I wasn't going to find either cliche or offensive, and somehow it did. It at the very end of the journey, of the drive of this story, there was a sea of potholes, and it dodged all of them, and it's awesome. I really enjoyed this episode. I'm really glad this show's back. Oh, Black Mirror, Striking Vipers. You've seen it. What'd you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. I love talking Black Mirror. I really do. A whole bunch of other stuff down there too, because there's buttons and links, and there's Patreon, and there's social media and merch and blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm trying to make a living off this, but I can't yet, so I keep mentioning the stuff. So click on things, it'll take you places. Consider doing the stuff the links take you to, but also you don't have to, because at the end of the day, you're the council. I'm just running the meetings, and until next time, this council is adjourned.